Good morning. A week of high-profile earnings reports ahead of us. We'll be into those multi-billion-dollar companies like Apple, Tesla, Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, and so on. Already we're seeing this morning Asian markets gaining on earnings optimism, even though last week's bank reports did little to stave off equity weakness. We have green across the board, including Japan and Hong Kong, after a weekend of zero data from the region. At the moment, on the dollar-yen pair, we're looking at a wedge forming as earnings season determines a wait-and-see pattern, at least until the end of the day. If US benchmarks take off, they'll be on account of the dollar, and then we can expect a breakout to the downside. In Europe, index futures are currently up after a Friday closing that had the entire zone in the red, save Switzerland's SMI. The pound continues steadily up despite Friday's disappointing retail sales figures for the holidays-infested month of Japan. The euro is also up again after German service and EU manufacturing PMIs for January fell less than expected. Here we're looking at the euro dollar bouncing off its moving average just above this week's pivot with our first target at 122.36. At 9 a.m. this morning GMT, we'll be getting some sentiment indicators from Germany, plus a speech from ECB President Lagarde. After last week's disappointment with the bank's policy statements, perhaps some kind words will help the pair on. Friday's PMIs from the U.S. showed a marked improvement in January in both manufacturing and services, with home sales also up by nearly 1% month-on-month. This week we'll be looking at the S&P quite a bit, and this morning there seems to be some indecision despite optimistic futures. Resistance at 38.59 is holding us back a bit with a neutral RSI and a MACD headed towards its signal from above. At 3:30, get set for the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index. Bitcoin is back on its northerly tangent this morning after China reported that Beijing and Shanghai would be joining the nation's digital yuan pilot this year, and oil lost nearly $2 a barrel on Friday after the EIA's reported 4.6 million barrel stock increase. That news was followed 2 hours later by the Baker Hughes report, another 2 rigs online, bringing the total to 289 for now. The commodity has still regained half of those losses on a weakening dollar, and with a strongly positive RSI, the asset seems to have crossed its moving average, this time in a more decided fashion as the dollar weakens. Today's opening earnings shot is expected to be quite timid. Philips this morning announced 7% sales growth year on year to 6 billion euros for last year's final quarter. As we can see, pre-market hasn't taken off yet, but we can certainly expect that 45.7 resistance level to be broken. Still ahead, we're waiting today results from Kimberly-Clark, Carnival Cruises, and on the smaller caps level, Timberland Shoes. Well, that's the way the week begins. Join us tomorrow and we'll watch it develop. Bye.